Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Backyard Musings. I'm Steve,
And I'm Scott.
and together we are Backyard Musings.
Yep, and we are the Science and Technology Channel, and we got some wild science and technology to talk to you about today and our next segment tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
Yesterday we talked, or this morning we talked about dodos, right?
reinventing the dodo, or bringing back the dodo. Yep.
Yeah. So now, as you can see on the screen, these cute little pups, a species of wolf that died out some 12,005 years ago, lives again as the world's first successfully de-extincted animal.
If you see it, you got to believe it.
According to Dallas-based biotech company Colossal Biosciences, right?
Yep,
It's the same one.
We've talked about them, yeah.
Colossal scientists have created 3 direwolf pups, and you can see 2 of them here, by using ancient DNA, cloning, and gene editing technology to alter the genes of a gray wolf, the prehistoric direwolf's closest living relative. The company announced on Monday, just a couple of days ago, yesterday. Yep. The result is essentially a hybrid species similar in appearance to its extinct forerunner. Would you like to know more?
Okay, so we're going to have to wait a bit to find out if these things are going to look similar or close to the direwolf, right?
Well, I mean,
they grow up.
Well, we're gonna look at some. We got some pictures for you.
Yeah,
they're similar in size to the gray wolves. The bone structure is similar. I mean, I don't know why they died out. I mean, I have no idea.
Okay, well, here we go. The direwolf, Anoxion dirus, which was the inspiration of the fearsome canines featured in the HBO TV series Game of Thrones.
Fearsome.
Yeah, never seen it. Was a top predator that once roamed North America. Dire wolves were larger in size than gray wolves and had a slightly wider head, light, thick fur, and a stronger jaw. That's according to the company. Colossal has been working towards resurrecting the mammoth, which we've talked about.
Yes,
right? We talked about that a while back.
Yeah.
Dodo, which we talked about yesterday
this morning.
Yeah. And the Tasmanian tiger,
the thylacine, which we talked briefly about yesterday.
Yep. Since 2021. But the company had not previously publicized its work on dire wolves.
Yeah, so completely got us by surprise. So the picture you're seeing now is the one that I took at the La Brea Tar Pits Museum. I keep telling you, if you're in Southern California, run, don't walk to this museum right in the heart of Los Angeles. If you're visiting LA, run, don't walk to this museum. It is completely fascinating. These are skeletons that they pulled out of the tar pits, and they've got active people working on. When I was there, they were working on a woolly mammoth tusk. They're cleaning it off and whatever. And then there were pits where people they had wood lagging, and they were down in the pit, and they were pulling tar away and bringing bones up. Completely fascinating.
Speaking of woolly mammoth, they found a woolly mammoth here in Victorville when they were
really?
Doing some excavating for a tract of homes.
Wow.
In North Victorville. Yeah. This was a number of years ago, but that's back when I was in the supply business, and the whole job stopped. Eventually it finished, but yeah, it stopped, and they were recovering all these bones.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, it got nicknamed Flintstone Manor while the project was going. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. The slide that you're seeing now is a whole bunch of direwolf skulls, and from what I remember, the direwolf is the most the most popular, most numerous animal that they pulled out of the pits, because it's a predator, and when a sloth or a camel or a woolly mammoth gets its paw stuck and gives up, the predators come, they start gnawing on it, and the thing falls into the and starts to sink into the tar, and then they jump on the carcass, and then they get stuck.
Oh.
And the vultures and the saber-tooths come. Saber-tooths are the number 2 that they pull out of there. All right, quote, "This massive milestone is the first of many coming examples demonstrating that our end-to-end de-extinction technology stack works," said Ben Lamb, Colossal's co-founder and CEO, in a news release. Quote, "Our team took DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth,
wow, and
a 72,000-year-old skull and made healthy dire wolf puppies." Okay, and we showed you those puppies at the front. And what do we got here? Okay,
they look like Great Pyrenees.
And I saw a video of them, and these little pups were were just howling, little pups howling.
Amazing.
I don't think dogs do that. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
So anyways, this picture that you're seeing here is a side view of the dire wolf skull, and we put here the canines were for seizing, the incisors were for nibbling, the cracking, those big molars in the back were for cracking, and then the ones in the middle were for chewing. And it's got all this scientific gobbledygook. I don't know what that means.
Okay. The 3 dire wolves are living on a 2,000-acre site at an undisclosed location, closed by 10-foot tall walls, 3 meters for you people across the pond and everywhere else in the world.
Jurassic Park, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Zoo grade fencing where they are monitored by security personnel, drones, and live camera feeds. Colossal said the facility had been certified by the American Humane Society and registered with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
So that means it's in the U.S.
Okay.
I mean, it's not in Poland if it's
Okay.
been certified by these agencies, right?
Okay.
It's not in Canada.
So
we can deduce that, right?
So where do you think it is?
Wyoming? Montana?
I don't know. Alaska?
Yellowstone? Alaska? Yeah. You name it, man. Using ancient DNA extracted from 2 dire wolf fossils, Colossal scientists and collaborators said they were able to assemble 2 high-quality Anocyon dirus genomes, or complete sets of genetic information. So 2 sets. So it's not like the same. So we've got 2 males and 1 female pups, so they can breed and not get incest, weird, funky stuff going on. They can breed.
Well, but that happens in the animal kingdom anyway. So, stuff.
I'm sure their pups are going to breed and have some weird stuff going on eventually, but
sure,
that's how you start it.
Yeah, and then they'll be crossbreeding, right? Maybe with a gray wolf to try to come up with some kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
The team compared the genomes with those of living canids, such as wolves, jackals, and foxes, to identify the genetic variants for traits specific to direwolves, such as white coats and longer, thick fur. Not sure how we know that they had white coats. I'm not sure unless they found some in the permafrost.
Maybe they found some fur.
Because they're all over in the United States, the bones, not just La Brea.
Yeah. The company then used the information from the genetic analysis to alter gray wolf cells, making 20 edits in 14 genes before cloning the most promising cell lines and transferring them into donor eggs, according to the news release. Quote, healthy developing embryos were then transferred into surrogates for interspecies gestation, with 3 pregnancies that led to births of the first de-extinct species. Colossal revealed in the statement. So that's those pups. Or
the pups.
2 of the 3, right?
Yeah, so 3 different birthing mothers, birthing BITCHSESs.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. The company did not immediately respond when asked what species of animal was used as a surrogate. Multimedia outlets have reported that the company used domestic dogs.
And I don't think that really matters because, of course, a canine does. You're not going to put this in a cat. But that the genes have already been put into the embryos, so the birthing mother or whatever is not going to pass anything on. Just nutrients, right? All right, and we talked about how the placenta, controls, the mother in certain aspects. 2 male direwolf pups were born on October 1st, 2024, while a female pup was born on January 30th, 2025, according to Colossal Biosciences. If you believe that, right?
And of course those pups look like they were a few weeks old, maybe 3 or 4 weeks
old. Oh, they're so cute.
So now they're large.
They're large. Yeah. Now maybe not the January. Well, probably the January one too.
Right,
yeah,
6 months now. So that's a pretty good size.
Playful, kind of lanky still. Yeah.
Maybe we'll see. We haven't seen them, so hopefully we'll get a shot at it. So. Is that me?
Yeah, I think so.
October 1st, 2024, while a female pup was born on January 30th, 2025, according to Colossal Biosciences.
If you believe that.
Yeah. To achieve its goal, the company essentially created a hybrid genome using CRISPR technology, away certain gray wolf gene variants.
To cut away.
Cut away?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And replace them with traits associated with direwolves, said Love Dalen, a professor in evolutionary genomics, based at the Center of paleogenics at Stockholm University and advisor to Colossal.
Yeah, so it looks like they got like an egg or something from a dire wolf, from a gray wolf, and then they spliced in the genes that they needed to do. Remember those 13 edits for fur and teeth and eyes or whatever.
That's messing with Mother Nature.
Well, I mean, okay. and these are not resurrected. Okay, resurrection is different. That's when a bone and flesh come back together in perfect form. Right. These are just tinkering with recreation. Yeah. Quote, there's no secret that across the genome, this is 99.9% gray wolf. There's going to be an argument in the scientific community regarding how many genes need to be changed to make a dire wolf. But this is really a philosophical question, Dalen said. It carries dire wolf genes, and these genes make it look more like a dire wolf than anything we've seen in the last 13,000 years. And that is very cool, end quote.
Dalen, who said he had been a little bit involved in the analysis of the direwolf genomes, but had not personally met the direwolf pups or been involved in the gene editing or cloning process, said the work by the scientists was a huge leap from anything done in the field in the past. The way I see this is that they have resurrected, which we just kind of said.
It's misnomer.
Yeah. The direwolf phenotype, the observable traits of a species. And we know from the genome that they probably looked a bit like these pups. To me, it's a direwolf in that sense, he said. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we're recreating these things from skeleton, right? So,
well, I mean, like the marrow or whatever.
They got a pretty good,
and it's not fossilized, which would be different. That would just be turned to stone, you know.
Yeah, but anyway.
Colossal has raised at least $435 million since Lamb, a serial entrepreneur, and Harvard University geneticist George Church founded the company in September 2021 and first announced plans to resurrect the mammoth. Here, I got a picture here for you of the mammoth, and I took this at the La Brea Tar Pits too. Took this picture at La Brea Tar Pits, and they pulled that up completely out of the pit and put the bones back together. And while I was there, they were working on tusks for another one. Is that completely fascinating or what?
Those tusks curved in like that.
Over each other. I mean, it's more like for bashing than it is for stabbing.
Yeah, but carrying, right?
They can carry could carry. Yeah. Just imagine that's ivory. How many chess pieces you could get from that and sell it from an extinct animal? Oh, you can make a killing on that. You know what I'm saying?
Is that ivory?
It's not like yeah.
Just like an elephant tusk?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're going to, when they de-extinctify these things, they're going to put them in African elephants. They're going to take the genes, and then an embryo, and then have an African elephant give birth.
All right.
That'll be interesting.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay, that endeavor has taken longer than Lamb initially projected, with the company saying it's on track to introduce the first woolly mammoth calves in 2028.
It's confusing. The company hopes the same technologies that created the direwolf can directly help endangered animals as well. Colossal said on Monday it has produced 2 litters of cloned red wolves, the most critically endangered wolf species, using a new, less invasive approach to cloning developed during the direwolf research. Many critics of the de-extinction argue that the huge sums of money invested in the project could be better spent elsewhere.
Come on. It's not your money. Don't be judging.
Is it private money? I mean, and that the raising and breeding the hybrid creatures could imperil living animals such as used as surrogates.
How is that? During the birth?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on.
However, Christopher Preston, a professor of environmental philosophy at the University of Montana, there might be a hint there of where this is, like you said Colossal appears to be paying attention to animal welfare issues, noting the size of the facility and support from the American Humane Society.
I thought it was interesting that they're cloning the red wolves. Red wolves are endangered, right? Critically. Bringing these back. They're using cloning because they've got an actual animal that they can take, marrow or whatever from to clone it. Can't do that with dire wolves because they're gone. Colossal have taken thoughtful precautions to screen against any unintended genetic consequences of their edits, eliminating risky edits known to be associated with poor outcomes, he added. Buddy said it's hard to imagine the dire wolves playing a role in an ecosystem, an outcome the company has said is the ultimate goal of its efforts to create genetically engineered mammoths.
Okay. Quote, in states like Montana, we are currently having trouble keeping a healthy population of gray wolves on the land in the face of amped up political opposition. That's
I
according
can
to,
see that, yeah. Farmers and that kind of stuff, predation.
That's according to Mr. Preston.
I completely feel for them. Yep.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine dire wolves ever being released and taking up an ecological role. So I think it's important to ask what role the new animals will serve.
They're just going to be in a zoo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of
compound.
sad.
So
that's really
but,
sad.
I mean, at this point, they won't know any better, right? You know, if you could put them in a compound, maybe not 2,000, the size of the one that we talked about.
2,000 acres.
2,000 acres. But,
well, that's big. That's huge. You know, territory.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
To roam around in.
But what are you going to do when they start producing and so let's see what happens.
I think bison will be good for an elk. That's what the wolves eat. The woolly mammoths.
Well, that's part of the problem too, right? I mean, they're reducing, or they reduced the gray wolf numbers, and the elk and deer
kind of exploded.
Bison kind of exploded, and then you got disease, and
well, then reintroducing would help.
It could, yeah.
And
but dire wolves, if they're going to be the size of what you're talking about here in these photos, I mean, they're going to be eating more than.
Well, the way the dude described it was, 99.9% genome of gray wolf, except for the edits for skin color, eyes, that kind of stuff, ability to speak, whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
But
you just created another predator, so
exactly. But I mean, if we can get some woolly mammoths, imagine if we could get like a herd of 1,000 or something, just roaming in Canada, Wyoming, North Dakota, Yellowstone, just roaming, as the snow comes and stuff. I mean, that'd be cool. I'd like that. Tyrannosaurus Rex? No, I wouldn't like that. But woolly mammoths and dire wolves. What does dire wolf steak taste like? I'd like to know. What does woolly mammoth taste like? Tastes like. Okay. We're not talking about the steak in your refrigerator, the woolly steak in your refrigerator.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Great subject.
I beat Scott down. Thanks, speechless. That's a first. Okay, where's that mouse? There we go. Got
Take care, everyone. Thanks.